when we look at what needs to pivot, because what we're talking about here, we got to look at a few different things. First one's going to be mindset. Always mindset has to be in the right spot all the time. And what we see is that those who have the strongest mindset are able to respond versus react when things like, getting stuck in your home and business completely shifting happens. Zig Ziglar said it best. You never know when a moment and a few sincere words can have an impact in someone's life. So when we look at your mindset, how are you shifting your team's mindset? How are you shifting your customer's mindset? How are you shifting your family's mindset? Those in your circle of influence, how are you shifting theirs? Vision and goals, passion, enthusiasm. Become stronger. Have the strongest mindset in your communication. How are you communicating this to everyone? Survive for sure, and then look at how can we thrive. Every single person that you have that you come into verbal contact with, not physical, how do you have that positive communication? How are you the most positive person in the room all the time? Well, you got to start with yourself too. And so how are you communicating the vision and the goals? Your vision for what your business is doing should not have changed because of the current situation. It's just a matter of making the pivots needed so that way when we get through this, when your business gets through this, now it's just a matter of shifting course and let's get back on it. This is just a minor detour. It's a chapter. How do you communicate your passion and enthusiasm? Don't just send emails. Create a quick 30-second video and send it to your team once a week kind of a thing. Get in front of them so that way they can see your passion. Be the strongest mindset. So how do we build a strong mindset? The strength of your mind determines the depth of your desperation. The weaker the mind, the deeper the desperation. So have a strong mindset so that you aren't desperate. Because a lot of people around you are going to feel this way. A lot of people around you in your circle of influence are going to feel stress and angst and anxiety and all those things. We've reshifted our entire marketing to focus on happiness. How can you become happy and stay happy through all of this stuff? That's a choice that you make. Daily rituals are massive. How do you need to pivot your daily rituals, your routine? We need routines. And well, our routine needs to have shifted. It needs to have pivoted in these moments. So what are those daily things that you need to pivot to be doing with the current thing? I realized when this whole thing first started, I was like, man, it's going to shift the way that I exercise. And so I needed to get into a new routine for exercise. What does that look like for you? What are those consistent routines that you need to pivot? How you learn and grow may need to pivot. If you're a client of ours, you have online access to a whole bunch of learning material. That's a place to start. Books, audiobooks, podcasts. Now is a great time if you are unable to do business to learn and grow. And what are the areas that you need to learn and grow in? Think about all the holes you're seeing in your business based on this, and then maybe you need to kind of close those gaps a little bit. Maybe it's leadership. Maybe it's mindset. What are those things that you need to learn and grow in? You got to pivot in your opportunity mindset versus chaos and crisis mindset. Look at every situation as an opportunity. So what's this opportunity for you? Coaching a hair salon. People can't go in, and I was making the joke, the fact that I had a man bun years ago on a dare. People said I didn't have the patience to grow one, and so I did, just because I'm super competitive. And there's a hair salon here in Texas that is creating custom miniature kits for her customers, and saying if you'd like a miniature kind of thing, I don't want you going buying like the cheap stuff to dye your hair, so I don't want you doing that. So if you want just a miniature kind of 4-week, it'll get you past kind of a thing, I'll custom make it for you and I'll send it to you, or you can drive by and pick it up. And so she's making money that way. So think about the things of how you need to innovate. And that started with her mindset saying this is an opportunity versus a crisis. Find small wins every single day. I encourage you to do it every single hour. And as you get past this, then it's every single day. I have a reminder on my phone that dings to remind myself, what was my win right now? So find the small wins, find the small opportunities to celebrate wins. And if you have a team, do it with them too. When you're having the communication, be like, yes, we are properly set up to survive through this whole thing, and then we're going to thrive when we get out of it. Or for some, we're going to thrive through it. Celebrate the wins. And sometimes no news is good news. So pivot your mindset, pivot your positive communication, focus on the things that you can control. That's the very first one. The second thing is how we work is going to need to pivot. How we work is needing to pivot. So virtual is the new normal. You're going to see a lot of business travel after this whole thing almost come to a complete stop for some businesses. They're going to go, you know what? We were spending tens of thousands of dollars, for some hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel. And instead we paid $200 and got Zoom for 500 people. So, why don't we just do that now? You're going to start seeing that the way the world operates in business is going to change. The option to work from home when needed or to try a different lifestyle without having to change jobs is a win for everyone. Productivity scientifically has been proven to increase when someone works from home. When someone works from home a day and a half out of the 5 working days out of the week, they become more productive. So we have a handful of clients that are going, you know what? We're going to start putting in a policy where everyone works from home a day and a half a week, or at least a minimum a day and a half every 2 weeks. And we use Zoom and stuff like that. You're going to start seeing this type of thing change. So how does your business need to shift and pivot because of that? Even if your business isn't going to go virtual, how does your business need to pivot for the shifts that are going to take place in others? You have to be thinking about this kind of stuff. Use technology. Human management is massive. People are working from home. I posted yesterday, if the mullet was the business in the front, party in the back, what do you call the business up top and pajamas on bottom? What are we going to call that? We can name for it because everyone's going to be using Zoom right now. And so you got to be able to have human interaction and management. And you got to have some fun. You got to be able to have some fun through all of this. Again, it comes back to that happiness and positive mindset. And it's not about ignoring what's going on. It's about choosing what you want to focus on. Social distancing is a real thing right now. And you have to take it seriously. So, too many cities right now are not taking it seriously. So you have to take it seriously. And you have to put the right precautions in your business and then communicate. Going back to communication, you have to communicate with your audience what precautions you are taking. I'm encouraging every single one of my teams to stay until May 1st. Even if the shelter-in-place ban lifts here in the 2 or 3 weeks in mid-April, stay home. Keep social distancing to at least May, potentially end of June. You got to make these precautions. So you have to make those kind of pivots. Virtual can help, can cause, I should say, people to feel alone. So how do you need to make the right pivots in your business to make sure that there's a community built, to make sure that there's still that interaction? Even if we're not working right now, how are we staying connected? Is it text? Is it phone call? Is it FaceTime? Is it Zoom? What is that new routine that we need to get ourselves into? Super important. Meetings are shifting through things like Zoom and whatnot. So how, again, whether that's your business specifically or if your business needs to pivot for that, for when others are focused on this kind of stuff, how does that need to take place? How is your communication going to be when saying, hey, you're all working from home, so let us come to you? Maybe that's not the case for the next 2 weeks, but maybe after that it is. You have to be thinking about this kind of stuff. More people are going to be working from home moving forward than ever. You have it all happening right now, and so people are going to build new routines. And these new routines, a lot of them will stay versus being broken. How you report and plan for your business is going to be done a lot virtually too. So, if your business is unable to go virtual, and so your communication is we're planning for the reopening of our business or the relaunch of it. Well, how do you need to be planning with your team to make sure that you're full, that you're good to go? That's not just up to you; it's up to the whole team to make those kind of plans and come together with it. The next thing that we got to pivot is how we sell. Sales are massive. It's not about stopping. It's about planning and then continuing. When we communicate our sales, it's through compassion and empathy and those kind of things. got a note from a client. Actually, well, it was late last night. I saw it this morning around how to have it. I need to, I'll jump on Zoom with him around. He has an opportunity in his business and it could come across the wrong way. And so he wants to get coached on how to shift the messaging to where it is through empathy and through compassion stuff. Because he doesn't want to be seen as, he doesn't want it to come across the wrong way. The two main pillars of great salesmanship are being competitive and being compassionate. So the tonality must change. How many times have you heard, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. The tonality must change. We can't be tone deaf. We have to be serious in how we're communicating. Serious customer focus. It's about them. It's not about us. It's about them. It's also why we shifted our focus on happiness, because we want to make sure every single business owner is happy through this whole thing versus stressed and anxious and stuff like that. That's why I'm doing this every single weekday morning, to make sure that for those that want to join, we're kicking your day off with positivity and happiness. Because if we kick your day off this way, then you get to go pour that into others as well. Still be selling. It's not about stopping again. It's about continuing that process. It's just about shifting and pivoting how you do it. It's about doing it on purpose. If you've never watched Simon Sinek's TED Talk on why, go watch it today. TED Talks aren't that long. Had an opportunity to actually work with TED, or not TED, but TED Talks. I actually produced a TED Talk in Chelsea, New York back in 2016, I think it was, maybe 2016. It was a whole lot of fun. If you never watched TED Talks, it's maybe a great opportunity when it comes back to learning and stuff to go find some TED Talks on topics that you need to grow in. Simon Sinek's he's done a couple of them. Simon Sinek's on why is phenomenal when it comes to selling on purpose. Go watch it. It's like, 15, 20 minutes. Every TED Talk's less than a half hour. It's like these. Relationships matter. How do you continue to build relationships throughout this whole thing? Your strategic partnerships, your business relationships, your personal relationships. How do these things continue to build right now? And again, it may not be about selling today. It's about creating that relationship to make sure that they know that you care, that then turns into sales in the future. And first and foremost, integrity matters. And so build relationships for the purpose of making sure they actually are okay. Don't be, the slimy salesperson that's just, I need to do this to make sure I get something in return. It's not about that. It's about giver's gain. It's about giving. And when you pour out into others, it will come back to you in spades. Choose to be a rainmaker versus a rain bucket. Oh my goodness, this is massive. Had an opportunity to sit in a room with an individual. When was this? This was in February, so a month and a half ago or so. Who does talks around the world, and he made this statement. I was like, man, that's really, really important. If as a business owner and as our teams, our focus should be to be rain makers for our teams versus rain buckets. Think about that one for a second. What does it mean? Well, we're not just here to collect it all. We're here to make it rain in our business, right? You've probably all seen the memes. They do that kind of stuff. And then give that to the team when they, as they, based on performance and stuff like that. Our job and our team's job is to be rainmakers for the business. So when we look at those critical things to focus on, so we talked about, mindset. We talked about how we work his pivoting and then sales. What are two things that you're going to pivot? What are two things that you're going to pivot right now? Going into this weekend, going into Monday, or if you're watching this on YouTube, going into tomorrow, whatever that day is that you're watching this right now, what are you going to pivot? And if you've missed any of these things, they all go on YouTube, and we're creating a playlist so we can just go back and forth through all of them. What is it? The things that you need to pivot based on this conversation right now, and by when? By when? And if you have a coach, you should send those things to your coach today. If you have a coach, you should send them to your coach today. When it comes to building relationships, this is why we are creating a virtual networking group. It kicks off. It's on Thursdays every week. If you're a client of ours, you get to come for free. If you're not, it's free for the first 2 weeks. and then it's something like $47 a month after that. Get involved. Jump in. We do things very differently. And you can talk to any one of our clients. They had an opportunity to experience a small portion of it when we did some planning. And our networking will I guarantee you will gain value every single time because of how we're going to do it. I guarantee when you join us, you will get value. So whether it's your mindset, whether it's how we work or communicate to others on how we're going to help them work more efficiently and better, whether it is in sales, whether it's in you may need to be the biggest thing that pivots right now, if we're talking straight about this stuff. Oftentimes we see in businesses that the business owner is the roadblock to the business. So if you're watching this right now, what is it that you need to shift? What's it that you need to pivot? The gap between stimulus and action is your opportunity to make a choice. What choice will you make? Please type in one thing that you got out of today. I want to know kind of where everyone's at on all of this. And make it a great one. If you have a coach, send to your coach what pivots you're committing to right now. And if you don't have a coach, then you should be reaching out to us to let us know that you would like a complimentary session, because I'll personally sit down with you virtually and give you one of those. If you know any business owners that would benefit from 20 minutes of positivity every single morning right now and a little bit of focus, invite them to these things or send them the information, send them the link. Type in, and we will see you all next time. Bye for now.